Good evening. We'll call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum, and we excuse Mayor Irwin, who's on vacation. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing, and Gabe Johnson will offer the invocation for us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gabe, would you go ahead and come up to the podium here?
Our dear Heavenly Father, we are thankful for the opportunity to come together and to meet as a town. And please bless as we proceed throughout this meeting that we may be blessed with thy guidance. And we are thankful for the town that we live in, and we are thankful for all we have. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Gabe. This is a business meeting of the Town Council. The town values and welcomes public input. As far as the call to the public, please address the council as a whole and not individual council members. Do not address staff or members of the audience. Council action on items brought up in call to the public is limited by the open meeting law. The council may direct staff to study the matter and reschedule for further consideration at a later date. Items on the agenda will not be heard or discussed in call to the public, and individuals are limited to 3 minutes. We do have Jack Babb and Gabe Johnson signed up for that. Go ahead and come up to the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor, council, staff, and especially the audience, slim it might be. My name is Jack Babb, and I'm the president of the Beekeepers of the White Mountains of Arizona. This is Gabe Johnson. He is our secretary, and Gabe's here to help me out, kind of bolster me, but to also show that we, the beekeepers, is more than just an individual hobby type event. We have Gabe, who's got his family quite involved, and 6 people? Yeah. He's got 6 in his family that are involved. There are husbands and wives, there are individuals. We have one member who's a firefighter for Taylor Snowflake, but his little 6-year-old girl gets into it. She's got her own bee suit and whatnot. Today I would like to address conservation for the bees. And in front of you is a letter outlining conservation and just a couple of the things that can be done. But we're addressing town councils and towns independently to try to convince the towns to help with the conservation of bees. There are many different ways to do this, and outlined are 2 different items in the letter. Planting a bee garden. One of the things that we have up here is a lack of rain. And a lack of rain, especially in the higher areas, the higher desert areas where little grows. We always look to individuals and to communities to support and plant a garden, something that is bee friendly, where the bees can get the nectar and the pollen and so forth to help themselves, but to help pollinate the plants that are essential for our survival as humans. We also have an item to support local beekeepers and similar organizations. And there are many different ways to do that. One of the ways is to provide donations, individual donations, group donations, in-kind type donations. One of the things that we have coming up at the end of June is a mini camp or a mini bee school, mini being M-I-N-I, where individuals, the public, can come in and learn more about beekeeping and what it entails so that others are involved. Beekeeping can be very safe, but there are individuals who have allergies to bee stings. So we also try to teach safety on that fact. And on the back of your letter is an excerpt from The Heart of the Tree by Henry Tyler Booner, my time is up. I encourage you to read the excerpt and help us out. And if you have any questions, Mr. Johnson has my contact information. It's also on the call to the public request. Thank you for your time.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We have things that look like bees up here, but we call them yellow jackets. They live in the ground.
Yes,
And
sir.
as far as I know, they don't make any honey or anything. So is there any way to separate the bees and keep the yellow jackets away? Or?
Yellow jackets, wasps, similar other stinging type insects are bad for the bees. They will kill off a colony of bees. And one of the things that we try to help each other with in our group is to find ways to help mitigate that problem to keep the yellow jackets and the wasps away from the bees. Not that we don't want the local yellow jackets to get out there and play their sports and support their bands and such, but the little insects.
Yeah, the little insect is on what I'm talking about.
But there are ways to prevent them from killing off beehives.
Okay, yeah, I know they're a pest.
They can be, yes, sir, especially if you're stung. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, we'll go to the consent agenda. All items listed in the consent agenda are considered routine matters and will be enacted by one motion of the council. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the town council requested an item or items be removed for discussion. Council members may ask questions without removal of the item from the consent agenda. Items removed from the consent agenda are considered in their normal sequence as listed on the agenda unless called out of sequence. Are there any questions or any discussion on the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, raise your right, say aye. Aye. Okay, that's unanimous. We'll go on to business before the council. Public comment will be taken at the beginning of each agenda item after the subject has been announced by the Vice Mayor and explained by staff. Any citizen who wishes may speak one time for 5 minutes on each agenda item before or after council discussion. Questions from council members, however, may be directed to staff or a member of the public through the Vice Mayor tonight at any time. Okay, I don't have anyone who wishes to speak, right? I don't have, okay. We'll go ahead, item D1, which is Town of Pinetop-Lakeside Proclamation National Police Week. And go ahead, if you do that, Jeff.
Office of Mayor Stephanie Irwin, Pinetop-Lakeside, Arizona, Proclamation, National Police Week, May 12th through 18th, 2024. Whereas in 1962, President John F. Kennedy and Congress signed a proclamation that designated May 15th as National Police Officers Memorial Day and the week in which it falls as National Police Week. And whereas our heroic police officers put their lives on the line every single day to protect their fellow citizens, maintain law and order, and safeguard the rights and freedoms of our community. And whereas it is important that all citizens recognize and understand the responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices that police officers bear each day, and to appreciate the sacrifices made by the loved ones who support them. And whereas members of this select group have shown courage, bravery, perseverance, and commitment to those they serve and defend, while enduring long shifts in dangerous and unpredictable circumstances. And whereas we honor the officers who have given their lives in the line of duty as an ultimate sacrifice in service to Arizonans. And officers and their families have our deepest gratitude and respect, and we remember their heroic devotion and mourn their loss. And whereas May 15th is designated as Peace Officers Memorial Day, in honor of all fallen officers and their families, U.S. flags should be flown at half-staff. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Stephanie Irwin, Mayor of the Town of Pinetop-Lakeside, do hereby officially recognize the week of May 12th through the 18th, 2024 as National Police Week, and respectfully ask all citizens to join in expressing their sincere thanks, gratitude, and appreciation to these men and women who are willing to sacrifice their lives if necessary to guard us and our loved ones and keep our community safe. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the seal of the Town of Pinetop-Lakeside, Arizona, done this 2nd day of May 2024 at the Pinetop-Lakeside Council Chambers.
Thank you. We'll now go to item D2, which is Town of Pinetop-Lakeside Proclamation 55th Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, May 5th through 11th, 2024. And Lynn Kriegbaum will go over that proclamation.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. The Office of Mayor, Stephanie Irwin, Town of Pinetop-Lakeside, Proclamation, the 55th Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, May 5th through May 11th, 2024. Whereas the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world. And whereas the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk is the oldest among public servants. And whereas the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk provides the professional link between citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels. And whereas professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. And whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. And whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. And whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk. Now, therefore, I, for Stephanie Irwin, Mayor of the Town of Pinetop-Lakeside, recognize the week of May 5th through May 11th, 2024 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our professional municipal clerk, Christy Salskoff, and Deputy Clerk Mackenzie Valinchak, to all professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the seal of the Town of Pinetop-Lakeside, Arizona, done on this 2nd day of May, 2024.
Thank you, Councilmember Kriegbaum. We'll now go to item D3, which is the Town of Pinetop-Lakeside Proclamation National Cities, Towns, and Villages Month. And Councilmember Schnitzer will read that proclamation for us.
Okay, thank you. Office of Mayor Stephanie Irwin, Pinetop-Lakeside, Arizona. Proclamation, National Cities, Towns, and Villages Month. Whereas the National League of Cities was founded in 1924 in Lawrence, Kansas, as the American Municipal Association by state municipal leagues seeking more coordination and national representation as cities, towns, and villages expanded rapidly, and whereas the nonpartisan National League of Cities is the oldest and largest organization representing municipal governments throughout the United States, representing the interest of more than 19,000 cities, towns, and villages across the country. And whereas the National League of Cities works with 49 municipal leagues across the country to strengthen local leadership, drive innovation, and influence the federal policies that impact local programs and operations. And whereas, as the voice of cities, towns, and villages in Washington, D.C., the National League of Cities has successfully championed federal legislative solutions that support local municipalities and has worked closely with Congress and the executive branch to educate policymakers on the realities of local implementation. And whereas local governments are the bedrock of American democracy, providing 336 million residents with the most accountable, responsive, inclusive, ethical, and transparent government in the world. And whereas from the nation's smallest villages to its largest cities, America's local governments have been essential in transforming the United States of America into the greatest, most influential nation in world history. Whereas Pinetop-Lakeside was first incorporated in 1984 and is proudly served by the mayor and town council and a municipal workforce of 92 dedicated public servants. Now therefore I, Stephanie Irwin, Mayor of the town of Pinetop-Lakeside, Arizona, do hereby proclaim May 2024 as National Cities, Towns, and Villages Month in celebration of America's local governments and the National League of Cities' historic centennial anniversary. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the seal of the town of Pinetop-Lakeside, Arizona, done at Town Hall this second day of May. Stephanie Irwin, Mayor.
Thank you. We'll now move to item D4, which is consider approving resolution number 24-1708 for the lease purchase of equipment and furnishings for the new police department. And Kevin, you have that?
Yes. Good evening, Vice Mayor and Council. What we have before you tonight is, for your consideration, is a lease purchase agreement for the furnishings for the police department. As you recall, when we started this project, we had a bond of $3 million, and what we had budgeted was to spend that $3 million. Then we were going to, and we are going to apply our unspent ARPA funds, and then we have budgeted to take the rest out of our reserves to the tune of $1.4 million. Due to a lot of factors and everything else that's happened, we're going to come up a little short. And so what we're proposing tonight is this lease purchase agreement with Zions Bank to cover that shortage. The agreement is set up in two parts. There's a lease purchase and an escrow agreement. The reason, and you haven't seen the escrow agreement in what I brought to you before. The reason the escrow agreement is there is because we've already paid for part of this furniture, and we can get reimbursed if you all approve the agreement for what we've already spent. So there's three components to this agreement. The first one is Interior Solutions, which is the bulk of the furnishings for phase one, which is the new building that's going to be finished the end of May, the 1st of June, somewhere along there. That total is $161,000. We've already paid, we had to pay 50% down, the $83,000. Okay. Then there is $14,000 for surveillance cameras to go around the building. We had to go ahead and pay for that by the end of April to get the discount that they were offering. If we waited till May, we wouldn't have gotten the discount. So we've already paid for that, but that is going to be reimbursed in this loan as well. The third piece we have not paid for is the surveillance cameras. And that piece is $40,009. So that money will go into the escrow along with the other $83,000 that we haven't paid for yet, that we won't pay until the furniture is delivered. So if this is approved, we would borrow $221,000 at this time. we're still going to have to come back when we finish phase 2. There'll be about another 250 or something. We haven't identified all of that. I had this on the agenda at the last council meeting, but I pulled it off because part of the stipulation of this agreement is we had to have purchase orders or invoices for everything that we were going to borrow money on. And we don't have that yet for the second phase of this. So I pulled that off. So we're bringing to you tonight the lease purchase agreement for $221,000 with the accompanying escrow agreement. The terms of this loan will be financed over 10 years with interest rate of 5.19%, annual payments of $28,903.87, but they won't start until May of next year. Also, as part of this agreement, if money comes in more than what we have budgeted, we can pay this agreement off early at any time. There's no penalty for early payment.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin. Does anyone have any questions?
Good job. That looks like that's a good interest rate, and especially since we're deferring payments for a year, that brings the interest rate, the annual percentage rate down. So yeah, good job.
Thank you.
So as my understanding, the town actually has the money they could pay for it without getting a loan, but that would bring our cash reserves down, and we don't want to do that. So it's better to get a loan and pay a little bit each year instead of wiping out our cash reserves, correct?
That's the purpose of this, because we're already going to dip into the reserves right now of 1.4 million. And we have been able to build those up in the last 5 years where we've never had them before. And I just don't want to take it down if we don't have to. I think it makes sense to do it this way.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, make a motion. Okay.
Excuse me, Councilor Heisler, there's one thing you need to add in the motion. Okay,
Do I need a pen for this?
No, I think you can, and I apologize, I've been working on this for a week, but logistically, Zion's, part of their people are in the Valley, part of them are in Utah, our attorneys in the Valley, and so trying to coordinate them all to get everything done. I apologize for getting this to you late. But the correction that needs to be made in the motion, in that very first sentence, where it says approving a lease purchase agreement, you need to add and escrow agreement. So we need to approve both of them. That's the only change.
I move to adopt resolution number 24-1708, approving the lease purchase agreement and escrow account for the purchase of equipment and furnishings for the new police department in the amount of $221,142.96, with financing provided by Zion's Bank Corporation, N.A., to be paid with annual payments subject to annual appropriation, and authorize the town manager and assistant town manager / finance director to execute all documents necessary to complete this transaction.
I second that motion.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or questions before we? Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that carries unanimously. Any other questions or anything on that before we move on? Okay. Thank you, Kevin. Next, we'll go to item D5, which is Town Council Committee Liaison and Town Manager Monthly Reports. And let's start with Councilmember Krigbaum, if we can.
And today I have no report. Sorry. Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Phillips.
Just a reminder, everyone, the White Mountain Humane Society is gearing up for their big annual fundraiser. It'll be in August at Charlie Clerks in the Orchard. Business owners out there, they could use anything they can that can be donated to help raffle off, and it's their biggest fundraiser. It basically pays for their existence throughout the year. And so, just a reminder, if anyone's out there would like to donate some items to be raffled off or auctioned off.
Thank you. Okay. Councilmember Heisler.
Vice Mayor, thank you. Got nothing.
Councilmember Smith.
Yeah, a couple of things. I think I'll donate a walker about that time, if for your.
Someone will need it.
The senior center is serving lunch the 23rd. That's a Thursday. Well, it's, again, serving liver and onions or meatloaf. So it's always a big event. There's a lot of people there. We'd like to have everybody that can help out that day and serve lunch. It's a worthwhile opportunity to meet with the public also. And we appreciate everybody who always seems to show up for that. But we'll probably have 60 or more people having lunch. The Transit Advisory Council will meet May 22nd. I don't have any issues that I need to talk about here. We have a couple, but I'm not going to talk about them. It's being resolved. Other than that, a lot of things going on with the Arizona Alpine Trail. Things are quite up in the air with a lot of really good things happening. So maybe next time I'll give you a little longer report on that.
Thank you. We're glad to have you back with us. So.
Thank you. I'm glad to be vertical.
Councilmember Snitzer.
I've got a few things with the Nature Center. We have Saturday hikes every Saturday morning at 8:30, and in the next 3 weeks we've got the hikes, and they go on beyond that, but I just looked at the next 3 weeks. There's one just on exploring nature. There was a different leader for each hike. I think that's Ron Miller, exploring a healthy lifestyle and edible plants. So that's a chance to just take a nice short walk. They last about an hour and a half, but it's more a meander than a hike because they're just going from place to place. We do have programs. Last week, we had a program, a very interesting program on technology and artificial intelligence and how it's being used to catch poachers. And so, for example, in this world, there are farms that raise tigers that are then killed for their hides and et cetera. Well, they catch poachers every once in a while. Of course, the first thing the poacher says, "Oh, I got this down at the tiger farm." They've taken pictures of these tigers, and the stripes on the tigers are like a fingerprint on a person. They're unique to each animal. And so they just take that hide, take a picture of it, compare it to the database, put the handcuffs on the poacher and send him to jail. And they're using it to protect animals and greatly reduce the number of poachers. So that was a fascinating talk. And then week after this Saturday, we've got Ron Miller is going to be talking about a trip he took to the tip of South America and to Antarctica. And then on June 1st, we have National Trails Day at the Nature Center. So please check, there are posters around town, stop by the Nature Center, but there are programs basically all from, I think it's 10 o'clock to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and different programs.
After breakfast?
Oh, yeah, there's a breakfast there, you're right. So the breakfast, I think, starts at 8.
8,
So I'm trying to remember the name of the it's the Backcountry Horsemen.
Backcountry Horsemen of the White Mountains.
Yeah, there we go. They serve a wonderful breakfast, so stop by for a good breakfast. And then, and Tracks will be having a meeting later on that day at the Nature Center. And speaking of Tracks, trail work continues, and they're starting to move over toward this side of town now. We started off over on the west side where the soils are sandy and dry out sooner. So we think we can get over here now. And the Tracks, the town, and the Nature Center all have trash pickup parties during the next 2 weeks. And so I would encourage anybody that's interested to stop by and sign up. That's it.
Thank you. I just have a couple items. It's high school graduation, May 17th. Also the golf scholarship tournament. I believe is this weekend, right? Saturday the 4th?
Yes.
Saturday the 4th, okay. And as far as the museum is open now. It's open Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 10 to 2. And any special requests, they can set up a tour of the museum too. There's a new phone number. It's 928-270-1316. Where people can leave messages or text messages as well on that number. And they're always looking for volunteers to help with the museum. That's all I have. We'll go to Town Manager Johnson.
Thank you. To add to for the museum, we've included on the town website, on their page for the museum, their operating hours, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 10 to 2, and also their phone number for their contact. So they, since they don't have their own website. In addition, I know we read the proclamation tonight for the peace officers and for our clerks, and I would just like to extend my thank you for all the work that they do for our community. The proclamation is nice, but it's also, we always try to remember them in our prayers and everything else, and we appreciate all that our officers do. On that note, for the peace officers, there's going to be on May 15th at the Navajo County Peace Officer Memorial in Sholo, there'll be a special ceremony. It's either at 10 or 11. I don't know if you guys have gotten, I heard about it last night. So we'll get that out to you and try and put it on your calendar. I think it's the same day as our Wombort luncheon, so there could be a little conflict time-wise. This coming Tuesday, May 7th, is the next Coffee with Council. It'll be at the Pinetop Coffee House from 11 to 1, and Councilor Krigbaum and Councilor Snitzer will be there to answer questions informally. It's a great conversation with our council representatives and to discuss issues that citizens have on their minds. And this is a week earlier than usual because of our budget work session on May 14th. So also remember to keep May 14th on your calendar for our budget work session. On Tuesday, May 7th, Community Services Manager Tony Alba will be the featured speaker at the Chamber of Commerce for Pinetop-Lakeside monthly meeting. This members-only gathering will be at 5 p.m. at the Green Tree Hotel and Suites. So I believe council members are invited to attend that, so if you can, because we are a member. Next week, I sent out an email today with a flyer and schedule for the Apache Culture Week from Eric Kramer. And so that will be, there'll be stuff running next week. On next, is the Mountain Meadows, is that on Saturday? Oh, it is on Sunday. Oh, okay. Mother's Day. They may not have looked at their calendar. So anyways, check the flyer, make sure we got the right dates. They've got the right dates on there. But they'll have an event at Mountain Meadow Park that day. Let's see, thanks. Oh, this is really cool. I believe we found out about this today, or at least I did. We've been involved with the Arizona Film Ready program. So Rob Hefner received an inquiry from the producer of the Arizona PBS show, Trail Mixed. The producer is seeking our assistance in capturing footage for 2 trails in our area to feature in their upcoming season. Rob is working closely with them to understand their requirements, with a special emphasis on spotlighting the Woodland Lake Trail system. So we're excited about that. That's a great thing. And our first ADOT Adopt a Highway road cleanup will be on Friday, May 17th at 8 a.m. We're going to meet at Town Hall, clean up the 1 mile stretch from Yellow Jacket Road to the Northwoods Resort. So please, RSVP to Tony if you can be here that morning at 8 a.m. And I believe donuts will be provided. Let's see, we've also got on May 18th, the next day, since we're going to clean up a little bit of the roadway, the Sue's Crew annual walk will be coming up the highway, 30 miles if you do the whole thing. And it's an annual walk to fight cancer. We have 11 town reps that will be participating in this great fundraiser. Our next lunch service was mentioned by Councilor Smith, and that'll be on Thursday, May 23rd. Please let Tony know if you can, RSVP with him if you can attend. And lastly, I sent out an email about the Emergency Preparedness Fair that will be on May the 11th from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock at the Taylor Rodeo grounds. You know, I'm going to have a booth there, and one of my presentations or information I'll give out is wildfire evacuation checklist. So that's pertinent for our area, 72-hour kits, and family emergency communication plans. So if you welcome to attend, there's going to be free pancake breakfast. Sorry, no sausage, no bacon. We'll leave that to the horsemen at their great breakfast, but just pancakes. But it'll be a good time, and you can learn about how to be prepared for whatever emergencies come down the road, because we know that no matter where you live, there is that chance. We've had enough of our own fire incidents where we've been on pre-evacuation status or evacuated. So it's good to be prepared. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, there being no more business, we'll go ahead and adjourn. Oh,
I think,
Go ahead.
I thought Jim would, Counselor Snitzer would say about the Nature Center at Mountain Meadow, the Memorial Day weekend. It slipped my
Oh,
mind.
you're right, the carnival.
The
I forgot all
carnival,
about
that's
that.
it, right.
The annual spring carnival will be Memorial Day weekend at Mountain Meadow Park. We've got, I will get some posters as soon as I receive them. They're late this year, but we have the tickets out at least. They're selling them at Town Hall, the library, the Nature Center, and we've got some at the elementary school. So the spring carnival, they've got one brand new ride called Thor's Hammer, I think. It's a great big giant thing that goes around. So that's good. And one other thing I forgot to mention, if you go to tripadvisor.com and you just type in things to do in Pinetop-Lakeside, number one is Mountain Meadow Park, and then number three is the Nature Center. So the Nature Center comes up third on the list of things to do if you Google, TripAdvisor. So that's kind of nice to know we're getting to be known for our Nature Center.
thank you. All right, we'll adjourn this meeting.